Hello, hello, you fabulous interior design professional. Welcome to Business of Design. I am so glad you're here and so glad we are going to talk about, my kind of favorite area of expertise, and that has to do with your financial well-being. Well, mine too. I love being financially well off. I would like that for you too. In fact, I was kind of thinking, should we call this episode Salary Isn't Enough? Or should we call this episode Wealth Matters? Or I don't know. Both of those things are true. The fact of the matter is, if you are running an interior design business, you definitely want to pull a salary, whether that's on a monthly basis or quarterly or semi-annually. It doesn't really matter, but you definitely want to account for a salary for doing the job day to day. But you also want to generate profit and wealth beyond what you pay yourself so that one day in the future, you can leave your business because you've had enough and you want to travel and see the world and you want to spend 6 months in Italy learning Italian or whatever it is you want to do. You don't need any other reason but that you've worked really hard your whole life and you're ready to just enjoy the fruits of your labor. And the fruits of your labor, without question, are wealth, money. What do you have in the bank so that life, the future, whatever is left, is going to be as fabulous as what's come before? So we're having a really good conversation today with Carla Titus, who is a finance expert with 17 years of combined experience in corporate financial planning. She provides fractional financial services, fractional CFO services for interior design professionals and other professionals as well. Her website is Wealth Worth Within. And we had a really good conversation about what are some of the stumbling blocks that prevent us from knowing our numbers, understanding our numbers, being enthusiastic about our numbers, and then how do we get to a place where we can project the kind of wealth we want to grow and get there systematically, step by step. Part of the equation, 100%, is your Business of Design membership. There's no question about it. I know without reservation that we can help you be more profitable immediately, if not sooner. We want you in our community, so that's a given. And beyond just thinking about what am I going to charge for that consultation, and I love what I do, how can we move people into the realm of wealth and growing wealth and understanding what it means to be able to generate that wealth and how little effort it takes once you have the facts at your fingertips. So it's a great conversation with Carla. Really glad you're here. Let's hear from Cheryl Horn and we'll get right into the episode.
Thanks, Kimberly. Well, I actually just wanted to talk a little bit about project management, and I think this is a fitting episode to have this conversation. So many members jump right into the BOD 15 when they join and don't always make it to the business courses within membership right away. So I've had a couple of conversations recently with relatively new members about project management, and following the presentation, designers assuming or continuing to charge a design fee, but now referring to that same fee as their project management fee, when really it's still their design fee. And those are two different revenue streams. Design hours, even after the presentation when you're on site managing the project, and your project management fees, two different fees. And we do cover that in detail within membership in the pricing model program. But to support that, I've also been getting questions. At the end of May, we did a 2-hour live webinar with attorney Wendy Estella, where we talked about legally offering project management. In so many locations, you have to have a general contractor's license in order to hire trades on behalf of your clients. And we just want to make sure that no matter where you are, you're able to add project management to the services that you provide your clients. We want you to be protected. And that's a really great webinar. We are so grateful to Wendy for helping us put that together. And if you are offering project management or considering offering project management, I highly encourage you to take that seminar as well. In that seminar, Kimberly shares that her projects are around 40% more profitable because she takes on project management and she hires the trades on behalf of her clients. And those are the same projects that she would be doing if she didn't offer those services. Those are not new clients. They're existing projects. And because she does project management for them, each individual project that she has is 40% more profitable. And I don't think anyone would turn down any of their projects being 40% more profitable, especially since so many designers are doing that work anyway. They just aren't charging for it properly. So please do check that out. Again, the pricing model program within membership and the project management webinar that is within the BOD shop. So if you have any questions on anything that we teach at Business of Design or any of the contracts and documents available in the BOD shop, reach out to me anytime, Cheryl@businessofdesign.com. Thanks so much.
Carla, good to see you.
So good to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, my pleasure. How is beautiful Oregon today?
Today's a little gloomy. I think it's going to clear up though. Yesterday
right.
was gorgeous, so I'm not complaining.
No, no. And is Portland still weird? Is that like a thing?
It's always like that's a thing we're known for. It's just quirky in its own beautiful way. And so I think that's also what attracts tourists to us. So we're totally cool with that.
I think that's special. I like that about Portland. I don't know Portland that well, but it's on my list of places I'd like to explore a little bit. Today on my list of things I would like to explore, I would say wealth and worth, which are two words you're very familiar with because your company has those two words in it. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I'm a fractional CFO. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a chief financial officer. And what we do is both bookkeeping and financial strategy. So think about you're working with a bookkeeper, your accountant, and they need to get the work done for making sure your books are correct in your business and that you have monthly reporting to understand what's happening in the business. But also, you now want to get proactive and in control of your finances. You're like, I don't necessarily like what I'm seeing, or it's good, but it could be better. Then you want to work with the forward-looking side of your business, which is what we specialize in. Forward-looking strategy, projections, start to map out the plan so that we can get the results that you want to see in your business, pay yourself well, have cash in the bank, all the things that your business, deserves, that you deserve from your business are, part of the work we do to plan for that proactively and get in control of what's happening. But it all starts with a great foundation around bookkeeping.
Hey, you fabulous interior design professional. This episode is brought to you by Xena, the smarter business card for project-based businesses like ours. If you're tired of chasing receipts, guessing where your money went, or sorting spreadsheets at midnight, Xena is your new favorite tool. With Xena, every purchase or business expense is automatically tracked by project, budgets update in real time, and reconciliation, it's done for you. It even integrates seamlessly with QuickBooks, so you can finally ditch the admin stress and focus on what actually grows your business. And the best part, you can sign up for free without even putting down your credit card, so you can try it with zero commitment. Head to Xena.com, that is Zena.com, to sign up and activate your Xena card in minutes. Yes, it does. Or can I even go back just a little bit and let's talk a little bit about worth, because I think each one of us comes to the table, comes to a new business, comes to running our own business with some built-in messaging, old tapes that sometimes don't serve us well. How does worth, or a lack of feeling your worth, show up in an interior designer's business, would you say?
Yeah, so I find often I'm told like, oh, I'm not good with numbers, or like, I started this business because I really love what I do, right? Which is, of course, why we all started businesses, except me. I do this for a living because I actually like numbers, but most of you have started businesses out of your love and passion for design. So you want to be living in it, and what you find is that the money's getting in the way. right? And you don't feel worthy sometimes of running a successful, profitable business because one, nobody told you how to do that. We didn't go to
Yeah.
business school for it, right? I mean, I did again. Most of you have not. You went to school for interior design because that is what you love. You want to do more of it, but the problem is the money gets in the way. And then some of the mindset that you bring into your business for either your personal, money management or your personal money beliefs, or even unconsciously money trauma that you might have brought, from your
Hmm.
childhood or whatever your relationship is with money is showing up in your business. And it's impacting your ability to generate worth in your business and build a business that is profitable, that is valued, that is worth something at the end of the day. Not that you're going to sell, but if you ever wanted to, you maybe could if the financial health was there. And so, starting with like what's getting in the way, what are some of the money mindset or blocks that you're experiencing? Maybe making note of it. We don't necessarily have to always deal with everything, but just being aware. Where is that coming from? Why am I thinking that way? Am I bringing my good or bad habits from my personal
Hmm.
financial management into my business? Is that serving me or is that hindering my growth in the business and creating worth?
Well, you started off by saying an affirmation that I think is very powerful, which is I'm not good with numbers or I'm not good with money. And I know a lot of interior designers who lead with those kinds of statements when we get into talking about profit and wealth and worth. And the reality is, those are very powerful statements, and the subconscious can't take a joke, scientifically speaking. Your subconscious doesn't understand irony or self deprecation. So your subconscious says, oh, you're not good with money, then I won't bring those skills to you in any way, shape, or form. The fact of the matter is, it's really not that difficult to become really good with money, but it wasn't presented to me as an option or something that would be important for me when I was going through school, like all through school, high school, university, that interior design school. It was never presented. And you sort of made a joke about, you might want to sell your business one day, but even if you don't, why don't more interior designers sell their business? Every builder I know, every contractor I know sells the business when he is done with it. I know of not one single interior designer who has sold her business. And I'm talking about some gender roles here too. So is it just simply a matter of we didn't know it was possible? We haven't been prepped. I feel like we need to back up and figure out what's going on here because there's a big difference between the hims and the hers in this case.
Yeah, I think one of it is exposure. Like you said, you've just not been told that it's an option, that
Mhm.
you could have the possibility. And even if you weren't going to sell, just running a profitable business should be a priority because guess what? You could do more interior designer when you actually have the money to do it and hire people and have more of the work that you love to do
Yeah,
available to you because you're able to afford to hire help, to take on more projects, employ other people. And how we set up our business financially has a huge impact on whether or not you would one day be able to exit or even have the option to exit and sell your business for, so like whatever multiples of, profit that you can, that someone's willing to pay for it. But we are not setting our business up intentionally at the beginning with good financial habits in order to even have the option to do that one day because we don't talk about this because
right.
people think, oh, I'm not good with numbers, so I'm just going to use that as my way to bail out of learning anything about money and money management instead of saying, hey, I'm not good with numbers, but let me just explore what it looks like to be good with numbers. What is the first step in getting educated or bridging the gap of knowledge on how do I
Mhm.
get a little bit better with numbers? Maybe I'm not an expert, and that's okay. You don't have to be one. But how do you take step one towards improving your relationship with numbers over figuring out how does it work, getting curious about it. Again, it's not about doing this every day and this is all you focus on, but it will get in the way of your success as a business owner. So the
Yeah,
more that we can empower interior designers with education, knowledge, and access to what does it look like to run a profitable business? What does a profitable business do for you
right.
in your life and your wealth journey and building value for you and your business? And then what impact do you get to make through that? Because now you can afford to do it in the long term. And I think all of that can be addressed with the right support.
Yeah, I would say that that's true. And as someone who has been working very hard at learning a second language, and so I feel like I'm just failing so miserably, I can tell you that I have more appetite to learn how to speak Spanish than I ever did to learn about money and numbers. But the money and numbers was so easy. It's not a foreign language. It's not even terribly difficult. It just has to be done. It's kind of an eat your vegetables moment, and you want to hire someone good who can walk you through the basics. But it doesn't take very long to become really savvy about how it all works. And then can we talk a little bit about once you've done that bit of work, maybe you hire a fractional CFO like Carla, or maybe you've, talked to Chat GPT to learn how to do it, or you've learned it at Business of Design, which is great. We'd love for you to do it that way. Once you know that, what does having a better grasp of your financial numbers and outlook, what does that do for you as a business owner, Carla?
Yeah, it actually opens up the opportunity for you to start driving your business through a different lens. Now
Mhm.
you actually are pairing not just your gut instinct, which I know a lot of you use, and it has served you well, with data. And that becomes a superpower because the data tells you what's happening in a business, where you need to put your focus, where things are running well and you don't need to
Mhm.
worry about, and what areas for improvement you now have an opportunity to tackle. So it becomes really exciting because the data guides you now to the areas that need your attention as a business owner so you can make different decisions. And when
Yeah.
you make different decisions, you get different results. And that's what we want to
Yes.
be spending our time as CEOs of our business doing is reviewing the data. And it also starts with that awareness of every month looking at your profit and loss and seeing what trends, what are things that are happening in my business that I didn't even know that maybe I had a feeling, but now I can put my finger on it and know, oh yeah, that was it.
Can I just say, like, I was a person who ran my business by my gut, and I thought I was doing pretty well. I sucked at it. I didn't know that I sucked at it. And I suspect if you're running your business by your intuition, you're sucking at it too. You just don't know. And with confirmation bias, all I looked for was information to back up my intuition and my hunch. And I fed myself a constant diet of you're doing the right thing. That was the right move. When what I should have fed myself is a diet of, are you out of your mind? You should not take that job. It is not profitable. You should not take that client. She is not going to be the kind of client you want to work with, right? So beware of imagining, at least I'm speaking for myself. I wish I could go back in time and take off a few years where I used my intuition to guide me down a path that was really tragically misguided. And the reality of learning about numbers with someone who's wired that way and feels really confident with it is so empowering. And just like the things that your numbers can tell you is staggering. Like, for example, I was shocked to know some projects are more profitable than other projects. I just thought, oh no, I'm a business owner, and so I have this magic thing called a profit margin, and that's across all projects all the time. You're laughing because you know better, right? But I didn't know better. And when you slow down a little and you either learn how to do it yourself, or as I said, you hire somebody like Carla to do it for you, you begin to see like, oh, I actually make more money when I do renovations of a living room and dining room than I do when I build a kitchen. How is that possible? The one thing seems so important to a homeowner, and the other one seems less valuable, but I make more money. Like, right? Have you discovered
Yeah.
that people have been shocked by what they've seen?
Definitely. And it's because how you price, is because how you manage your labor and your time and the cost of materials. At the end of the day, those are the drivers that you're trying to control for. And think about it, in a kitchen renovation, you have so much more cost, right? You have materials that are more expensive. Your labor and your time to design is probably longer because it's more complicated. Maybe if you're just doing a living room and you're putting a few, and this is very important. Of course, designers have like such a great creative mind that I'm like blown by that, right? But the simplest right piece of furniture in accent wall in the living room, one, it's not going to take you a ton of labor or material costs, right? And second, it's like a lot quicker turnaround. So then you're
Mhm.
actually able to do two, three of those faster than you could a kitchen, and you make more money because you don't have a lot of costs. So this is where we're
Yeah.
talking about each project profitability, like what is our, gross margin on that project. And that's what allow us to then have profit in the business after we cover our admin and overhead costs, whatever else is left, right? Your studio design, rent, internet, those type of things. But thinking about it through that lens, and not to say that kitchens can be profitable, maybe you just need to price differently. Maybe
Yeah.
you just need to account for your custom materials being higher and then put your design fee on top of that to make sure that you're getting the right profitability out of that project, and
Right.
also maybe even have some contingency because your client's going to make changes halfway through the kitchen remodel
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's going to take you time to go back to the drawing board and make some changes to the design. And so just thinking through those variables and how we manage them, that's where the data really comes in, because we can go review a project and say, okay, how did we perform on that project? What do we need to change next time to make sure that is more profitable and is actually yielding the results financially that we want to see in
Yeah.
our business?
Here's something else that is difficult for a lot of creative professionals to wrap their head around. There are businesses that look at their numbers and they say this particular stream of income is not as profitable for us. So we're going to get rid of it. Or this particular stream of income is not as profitable for us. So we're going to increase the price here. That is just not something interior designers do. Too often, I think we are telling ourselves that we love what we do and we want to please all the clients in all the ways. And therefore, we have to take the good with the bad. When in fact, a mature business doesn't take the good with the bad. They lop off the bad. They lop off what doesn't work. They lop off what's not profitable, or they change it so that it becomes more profitable. But the longer you're in a position where you're listening to your gut instead of only looking at the numbers and making decisions based off the numbers, if you're like me, you'll just continue to get further away from what I like to think of as wealth. And as long as I brought up wealth, let's just talk about what that even means. Because most interior designers don't get into the business thinking, I want wealth. They just don't. So what is wealth, Carla? What is that?
Which
What
is
does that
like
mean?
shocking to me because you're normally working with wealthy clients. So I'm like, you
Right.
seeing it firsthand. So like, wealth is what pay your bills. So from the client side. So like you're so exposed to it, but somehow we're not creating it for ourselves.
Right.
And what's happening is that maybe you haven't again been exposed to how do you create wealth from a business. And what I'm here to tell you is it starts with profit. If you don't have profit, you won't have the cash to be able to invest outside of your business to build your personal wealth as a business owner. So that's why we focus so much on profit, because we first have to fix that in order to have the money to then generate wealth in our personal lives outside of the business. How
Yeah.
we do that? Different ways, depending on your type of entity. You might be on payroll, so you might be paying your own paycheck if you're an S corp. If you're not an S corp, you're probably just taking draws, which is totally fine. And those draws are feeding your personal budget and your personal wealth building journey. So what you take out of that to allocate to retirement savings, to maybe buy a real estate, a rental income property, to invest in a commercial building that you own for where you run your office and design studio out of. These are things and ways that you can, as a designer, start building wealth for yourself, because now you're paying yourself rent from that commercial building that you were before renting and paying someone else for. Now you're paying yourself for that and you own that too. Keep in mind, you did become a second business and now you run a real estate company, but that's just besides the point. You're still paying yourself the rent and owning that commercial property. In that case, maybe you don't like that and you just want to invest in index stock and get into the stock market, so you're putting money aside on your retirement account, investing for the future. These are ways that we can generate wealth from our business by taking some of the profits and bringing them to our personal side, through transfer, to start investing in the things that make sense for your personal financial future. And this is a lot of the things where I think we just stop at, okay, we make profit, we pay ourselves, and then that's it, right? Like, and maybe
Yeah,
some of you
I'm
are
I'm
even
getting a
like, I'm gonna pay
salary.
myself.
Yeah, I'm getting a salary, so I'm doing okay. Like, well,
Or
yeah,
yeah.
but you could get a salary from another company. and
I was
not
like, you could
do,
work a job.
yeah, do a
and get
fraction
that.
of the work that you do now. So actually, salary isn't enough. Salary is just not enough.
Yeah, your business owes you not just the salary, which is like the minimum, because you could just get a job and get paid, right? So that's the starting point. What we want to do is now create the ability to draw from our business above and beyond. Again, this comes from profit, right? Because it got to be financed from somewhere. And you can stash money away again for the future through investing the right way and maybe even just saving for your own, needs and priorities, whatever that looks like for you. But those are some ways that we help clients go from having the profit first to then moving the profit to create real wealth that one day, if their business wasn't here, they still could enjoy a good retirement. They could still have the commercial property yielding cash flow for them. And this is how wealth is created outside of the business. Again, it all goes back to profit.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that you lose a lot of interior design professionals from conversations around projections because the feeling is, well, what's to project? Either I have a job and it pays me money, or I don't have a job. And or the other thing is a childish projection, which is this year I made, I'll use revenue as an example. Revenue is not profit, and revenue is not
Thank
salary.
you.
But this year my revenue was, $400,000. So next year it's going to be 7 million. Well, okay, good. That was
Nice
fun.
try.
How'd that go? Right. When you're making a projection, you want it to be based on what is outside of achievable. I always think I want to go beyond what's achievable to something a little bit higher, but not to the land of absurd. And you need to understand those numbers before you can ever make any kind of projections, right? Like you just
You
have
got it.
to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we start with what has been accomplished, right? We know you did 400 last year. Okay, what do we want to do this year? But it's not just like slapping a number on the board and saying, good luck, everyone. We'll see how we get there. No, it's saying, okay, you want to, and I'm going to use your example. You want to get to 7 million. What would need to be true for us to even get close to 7 million? So then we start aligning. Well, that's going to require 100 projects in a year. That means 25 projects per quarter. And that means you'll need 10 staff members to deliver on that. And you're going to need a really healthy marketing budget to get that many leads to fill that pipeline to even have 25 jobs. Because right now, maybe
Right.
you're doing only 3 or 4 a quarter. So it starts to shape up into real actionable things we have to do. And then you look at it and you're like, 25 projects. There's no way I could juggle that in a quarter. And then you say, okay, well, that's not realistic. What's realistic? And then we get to the number that's more like
I'm so
10.
sorry I coughed right on top of you. Yeah, you were saying you get to a more realistic number, or you think about the size of the client. And can I afford to take the DIY customer anymore who wants me to just move around what they have and go to TJ Maxx and pick up a couple of blankets and pillows and just supplement? Can I even afford to do that work anymore? Is that work costing me more than it's contributing?
Yeah, and I think it's very counterintuitive that the more a client is willing to pay, the less maintenance they will be and the less trouble they'll be. They will ask for a lot less because guess what? Wealthy clients want the job done. They don't care what it takes. They don't want to be involved. They want you to decide. That's why they're hiring a professional to come in and do the work. More budget conscious clients are not bad. They're just going to want more for their money. And this is just something we need to be mindful about. And maybe that's what got you started. And that's great. We want budget clients to be served. Someone is starting their business tomorrow and they're going to need the budget clients.
Yeah.
And that is everyone started there, right? And then over time, you realize, oh, look, these other clients pay better and they ask for less. They let me have the free reign and control and direction for what we're trying to achieve. And that maybe is a better process or an easier process. And again, there is interior design firms out there that are probably doing volume based on budget clients. So like don't discard that too. That is also a model. Might not be your model, but you have to decide. It has to be intentional. We always want to make sure we're making decisions from an intentional position, not just a default position.
Yeah. And if you are going to be working with budget clients, the only way to make money is to do volume. And for most interior designers, it's really hard to do that. It's really, really hard to do that. Maybe there's somebody who does that success. Maybe there is a Walmart of interior design services, But I think that's a challenging position to be in. It's way easier to have six amazing clients and hit your $7 million revenue goal. So that's part of projecting too, just kind of looking at, out of the five clients you did this year, only two generated the kind of profitability that gets you excited. And the other three or four might have been lovely, wonderful people, nothing wrong with them at all. But in future, you're going to go for this type of client, right? And you also begin to realize that saying no to the wrong client can actually improve your profitability, because the client who exhausts you and wants more, 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 and if you're not good with boundaries, they're gonna suck the profitability right out of your company, not to mention your own happy balloon is going to be deflated.
Your energy, your attitude is going to change. Like, it's like, is the
Yeah.
money worth it? I always ask that, right? It's like, is the
Yeah.
money worth it, having to deal with that? And sometimes we all have to learn. To be honest, sometimes we will have those situations. We'll learn from that and then not do it
Yeah.
again. And making sure you're like deciding which are the right projects. Where are you finding those type of clients? Because not every revenue stream, like you said, behaves the same way, right?
Right.
Some revenue streams might not make you any money and you had no idea unless you looked at it. Again, the numbers, but you are putting fuel to that to grow that side of the business when it's actually working against you. And you wouldn't know, again, unless we're evaluating the profitability of every project and realize, oh, that was not really creating any kind of profit because money came in and money went right out. Or even we paid the client to work with them and you had no clue that that happened until you looked at the numbers.
Right, right. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about projections. What sorts of things do you project with your
Yeah.
clients?
So you were talking about projects, right? You're like, well, either we have a project or we're done. Well, that's true. But if we are halfway through the year and you still have 6 months left to the year and you don't have a project today, does that mean you won't have a project in the next 6 months? No, it doesn't. Because you're going out there to get new clients. You're always networking. You might find the next project. You might have been working on a lead for like a year now and it's about to convert. You need to take that into account. So what we want to do is sit down and look, okay, you don't have a client right now in the pipeline, but you've been talking to some people, right? Who are they? What size of project do you think they might be? And we start to estimate what that's going to be. Maybe it's 3 projects now. Could you do 6 by the end of the year? And we start to ask those questions because that gives you an idea of like, okay, I have 3 now. They might convert, they might not. That's fine. I got to go find 3 more. So now
Mhm.
that gave you an action for you as an owner to go take is I need to find 3 more projects before October of this year in order to hit my goal of 6 projects by the end of the year. But without that plan, you're just winging it and you're just waiting to see what comes your way, which is not very like a business owner, right? Because if you're like on it, you're driving, you're taking action, you're going to go get those clients now. You're not waiting around and making sure that pipeline is full. But if you don't even know what you need,
Yeah.
how would you know to go find 3 more? You might be looking for just one, but you actually need 3 to hit the goal that you wanted revenue wise, and you had no
Yeah.
idea that you were missing 2 more.
So interesting that you said that. That it feels like another gender divide here. I know of three male construction guys, contractors, and all three of them have talked to me about how many new clients they need for the rest of the year. They know the number. Not a single interior design professional I know says I need two more large clients, which generate $400,000 in revenue each, and two small I've not never heard an interior designer speak like that, but I know that at this time next year, I'm slow to fill my client pipeline with life and history in the making as we're watching it unfold. And I know for sure I'm not going to hit my financial goals if I don't land three clients, the three, and I know exactly how much money those three clients need to bring to the table. With that knowledge, first of all, it's not 100 clients, right? Which when I was
Nope.
going with my intuition, it was like, I want 50 more clients. I did. What are you talking
Of
about?
course, we
You
all do.
right, right. But three, okay, three, I can do
Doable.
three, right? Three is doable. And I even know how much I need them to spend. So who can help me tap into people who spend that, right? It's not going to
Exactly.
be the TJ Maxx person who's going to help me tap into that customer, but it could be like my high-end tile supplier or
Hmm.
my high-end fabric supplier.
Yeah, even asking yourself a question, where did my last three clients came from? So it's such a simple question to ask, but we're not even thinking about that. And this is how we start to frame projections, is getting curious about where did those clients come from? Can we go talk to those people or similar people again to get those referrals? That will build our pipeline for the next three clients we need to hit our goal. Now, again, we're not waiting around. We're getting really proactive. We're starting to drive the action to go reach out, to email, to set up the call, to set up the meeting, to go visit the tile provider that got you the last three clients, and have that
Yeah.
conversation on, hey, we have availability for three more clients before the end of the year. Can you think of one person that said they had a project in mind they wanted to start in the next month or two? So you get really concrete. But if you didn't have that plan, now you're just guessing or waiting to see what happens, and then you don't hit your goal. So you're more likely to hit your goal when you have a plan and actions that you have to take
Yeah.
because you've already thought about it.
And you're more likely to say, see, I'm not good at this. See, I knew it. I knew I wasn't good at this, right? Because you've sat back and you've waited for life to happen for you, like Winnie the Pooh, instead of like taking action to make it happen. Things work out okay for Winnie the Pooh, but that guy doesn't need to earn a living, right? It's okay. Like
Exactly.
life can happen spontaneously for Winnie the Pooh, but not for you. So becoming empowered around your numbers, is it safe to say that it might be helpful to think about wealth in terms of what kind of money do I want to generate so that when I exit my business, whether I sell it or just close it, what kind of money do I need to generate and how many years do I have to do that? Like, is that a helpful conversation with your clients, Carla?
Yeah, so we always have a target for owners' compensation they want to take out of their business every year. So that's one number that we have in mind. The second number we have in mind is like the type of profits that business has to produce to not just pay that salary, but also have ability to bonus the owner as they want to, as the business grows, or to allow them to take additional owner's draws on top of that. So those two numbers we're always very clear on. What is the profitability of the business we need to hit, and what is the owner going to take home at the end of the day, all in. And then if the owner is putting money aside for retirement, we're also putting money aside for taxes from the profit, right? So like, let's not get caught off guard there. That's quarterly. We have to be paying on that if we're making money. And then we also write down what is that retirement number we're trying to hit for the owner, whether encompassing their current total pay or separate. We know what those numbers are, so we know what the profit needs to be able to support that for the owner. And if you're not there yet today, don't get discouraged. It's just even knowing what your number is. We're trying, like a lot of the clients that come to us, they are not there today. They're like, how can I get there? And we say, okay, well, here's what we need to do to improve profit, to get it to a point where you can afford to pay yourself that. And so we have a goal in mind that we're working towards and making progress every month, every year. And one day we'll get there. It's not going to be overnight either. We're not magicians here, but we are making progress and paying the owner more every time the profit increases while still making sure they set aside some money for retirement.
It's such a fine line, though. You're right. Like, don't be discouraged wherever you are. On the other hand, I wouldn't delay this. I wish I had known everything I know now when I was 30. I wish I had started the conversation when was 30. My stock market portfolio would look different, right? So the sooner you take action, even though it seems kind of scary, the sooner it's going to feel great. And I've never met anybody who doesn't say like, oh my God, that was so great. I wish I had done that sooner. I've never met anybody who hasn't had that feeling. So today's a really good day to act on all of this, I would say. Where can everybody find you, Carla?
Yeah, they can find us on our website at wealthworthwithin.com. They can sign up for a free consultation if they're ready to hire a CFO. If you're not ready, you want to sign up for our newsletter, you could do that on our website too. And we just launched our new podcast, CEO Financial Clarity Corner. Since you're here today, that might be a really good place for you to join us. Make sure you search on all your major podcast apps, CEO Financial Clarity Corner. We just released our first three episodes and we'll be releasing more as we go through. We're really excited and so glad to be able to put this free resource out there for all business owners to now get good with the numbers. Because I know you told me you weren't good, but now you're about to get so much better at them.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Congratulations,
Thank
episode
you.
3. Very, very exciting. Carla, we like to end every episode with something we call design intervention, just a last piece of great advice you want to leave everybody with.
Yeah, I think this one is going to sound really simple, but I encourage everyone to just take 5 minutes, go pull up your profit and loss statement. Just take a look. Did you make profit last month? Did you not? Not for judgment, because we are looking to make progress. We want to start to pay attention. And it's okay if you're not. Now let's create a plan to make it reverse the course and start to get back to profit, because that's businesses are here to make money. And you will greatly benefit from that profit because you'll be able to take more home from your business.
Oh my gosh, you'll benefit, your community benefits, your family benefits, your everybody wins when a small business is successful. And when a small business gets to be a medium-sized business and on up, that everybody wins. I don't know a single interior design professional who doesn't want to do good things in their community. So it's better in your hands than someone else's. Carla, thank you so much. Really good conversation.
Thanks for having me.